Shalom, Nishamak. Want to start off, of course, giving our honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles, great male song, who rule today. Kazak Shalom to you, brothers. Just love you. A few sisters might be tuning in, listening and learning, and just getting right into it. I'm gonna be going into a couple of things that was on my spirit. Starting with, birth pains, because it was something that a brother had brought out just recently. The inspiration of this lesson comes from a brother that was going into hearkening into this word, and one thing that he was mentioning in the lesson was the birth pains, and pretty much the baby that's about to be born from this birth is pretty much Yahawashi. This is the book of John, chapter 16, and verse slack it, bear with me for a second. This is the book of John, chapter 16, verse 20. Verse 20. It says, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, that ye shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice, and ye shall be sorrowful, but the sorrow shall be turned into joy." Right? Because it's an laugh now, cry later, and a cry now, laugh later deal. The coins are about to be flipped, and two, you know, uh, you know, from us sorrowing and mourning, and to others sorrowing and mourning, and us rejoicing. But in verse 21 it says, "A woman, when she is in travail, have sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man taketh from you." Right? And that's spiritual, because he said that he'll see us again. Going to see reincarnation. When you go into 1 Corinthians, matter of fact, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, you can get that. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, and verse 12. It says, "Now, if Yahawashi be preached that he rose from the dead, how say some among you that there is no resurrection of the dead? But if there be no resurrection of the dead, then is Yahawashi not risen?" Right? So our forefathers before us, the prophets, they taught reincarnation. They taught the resurrection of the dead, and that's how we able to have access through the spirit. Is through the resurrection of the dead, because once again, Yahawashi was risen up after his death in ancient Rome. You see, so that's why we just read, and let's go back to John chapter 16. This is the book of John chapter 16 and verse 21. It says, "A woman, when she is in travail, hath sorrow, because her hour is come. But as soon as she is delivered of the child, she remembereth no more the anguish for joy that a man is born into the world. And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again." Yeah, and Hey, we were sorrowful. Matter of fact, you had I think that was Paul. He didn't even want Yahawashi to get on the cross. Well, Yahawashi said, he said, get thee behind me, Satan. You know, not Peter, Salakia, Paul. But yeah, he got rebuked for that. Because he didn't, didn't want him to get on the cross. That he was sorrowful. The. But Slakia, getting it back to the precept, it says, "And ye now therefore have sorrow, but I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man take it from you." Right, because we now we see Yahawashi again. It's like now we see Yahawashi again because guess what? He was resurrected, man. He now he in another body. The Lord placed His spirit in another body. That's all. That's all that happened. You know. Well, not all that happened, but the Lord took him out of the flesh and He put him into a spiritual body. But going back into that birth, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, and verse 3. It says, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads." Yeah, and it's going into the Roman the Empire, dealing with the dragon. And it says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. The third part of the stars is going into Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. It says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven. Let's going into Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The third part of the stars of heaven. And it says, and did cast them to because Judah, Benjamin, and Levi was the main tribes in the ancient Roman Empire. But it says, and did cast them to the earth. Meaning they went into captivity, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered. Right. It says, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And that's spiritual, because the woman going into pretty much Zion, who was birthing that child, because it's spiritual. We know physically it was Mary, and Yahushua's father. But I'm reading one more time. It says, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And we're gonna get proof of the child being Yahawashi. And then we're gonna go back to that. But this is the book of Matthew, chapter 2 and verse we're gonna start at verse 11. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts. Well, let me go down. Verse 13. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeareth to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod, which Herod was one of the if I'm not mistaken, one of the presidents or Caesars, if you will, during the Roman ancient empire. And it says, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. Right? Which that young child was talking about Yahawashi. And the king, at the time, was, the spirit had hopped on, Joseph, to pretty much, tell him to get up out of, get up out of there, because the king was about to, try to slay Yahawashi. Going down to verse 16, it says, Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coast thereof, right? Because at the time Yahawashi was at Bethlehem, so he thought that if he would slay all the children there, that's heavy. That ain't no light thing. He sent hitters to slay babies because one of them might have been Yahawashi. That's heavy. It says then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Yeah, so, that dragon, let's go back to the Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. It said, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them into the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Right? As soon as the child was born, it was still Yahawashi was still a baby, but they got word that the Son of Man, the Hamashiach Yahawashi was to be born at the time. It was a lot of anticipation about that at the time. That's what the spirit was on at the time. Anticipation that Yahawashi was about to be born during that timeline, which he was. He did. And pretty much the way the Lord had it set up was that he'd be set up as a poor man, in a king, spirit, in a king's spirit, which is the same thing today. Let's go back to that, Revelation chapter 12, verse 4. It says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, because now we ready to be delivered again. We going through because the earth is going through those birth pains again. Inflation, war, you know what I mean? All these things, it pretty much ties into birth pains, man. Because these things are painful, but it's going, once again, it's going to be a child to come out of this wound, if you will. It says, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for it to devour her child as soon as it was born. And it's the same thing today. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi has placed the spirit, in the men, starting with the seven, and then our apostles at a great millstone, on down to the elders and the brothers coming under those elders, and then the brothers coming, under the works of those the other brothers, in its proper order. We the Lord put that spirit of Yahawashi back on the earth. And now, as soon as the spirit of Yahawashi, not as soon as this doctrine coming out, what I mean, the doctrine that, the name of the Lord is Yahawashi Yahawashi, the Revelation 13-16, talking about the thing, the spirit of the Lord is the spirit of prophecy. As soon as it's coming out, now what? Now, Esau is getting ready to come down on Jake, man. To accuse the brethren. He coming up and with different plots and things that he can lay for snares for people to believe that we just terrorists. All right, that's a form of him trying to slay that child to be born, man. But it says before that's pretty much it on that. Let me see. I think that's pretty much it on that. Yeah, no. Verse 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up into Yahawashi Yahawashi, and to his throne. Yeah, right. So like it says, And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto Yahweh and to his throne. Right. So yeah, it said and to his throne. Matter of fact, because who is that talking about? That's how you know it's talking about. This is how you know it's how it's talking about Yahawashi. This is the book of Hebrews, uh, chapter 8 and verse 2. Actually, Slacky, I'm tripping. What is it? Okay, let me see. This book of Hebrews, chapter 2 and verse 8. Thou hast put all things in subjection under his feet, for in that he put all things in subjection under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him, and I pulled that because it said that and her child was caught up unto Yahawashi and to his throne, so the Lord has given Yahawashi a throne. It said that he had put all things in subjection under him, under his feet, man. So that means that the Lord set Yahawashi in a throne that's over everything, man. Let me see. Bear with me for a second. It's like here we go. This is book Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 1. Now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty in the heavens, man. We have such a high priest, which is Yahawashi. You know, that's our high priest now. That's made our top priest amongst the nation of Israel is Yahawashi. It says, now of the things which we have spoken, this is the sum. We have such an high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of the majesty. Let's go back to Revelation chapter 12, verse 5. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all the nations, right? Because the scriptures say, this book of Revelation chapter 19 and verse 12, it says, his eyes were as a flame of fire. This is talking about Yahushua. And on his head were many crowns, right? Right. It says, and meaning he gonna have all the dominion. You got right now Moab got a crown, Esau got a crown, shit, Amalek got a crown. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, like the scriptures say. So now, the Lord has set somebody in the throne to and who was worthy to take forth all those crowns, man. All the dominion. This is the book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 5. It says, and she brought forth a man child who was to rule all the nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto Yahawashi. And her child was caught up to Yahweh and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness. That's pretty much it on that. But just proving that that child to be born. It's pretty because we still waiting on because that's the Lord's name is He delivers, man. You know. Let me see. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2. But unto you that fear my name, that's spirit, because once again, his name is what? Yahawashi, which that means he delivers, man. You know? It says, but unto you that fear my name shall the Son of Righteousness arise with healing in his wings, and ye shall go forth and grow up as cows of the stall, man. You know? It says, that the Son of Righteousness, arise with healing in his wings. Being a point, you know, Yahweh he coming back, to deliver, man. You know, Yahweh is coming back to deliver. And even then, they're gonna try to persecute the son, that's to be born, because what Esau gonna do? He gonna try to use his F1, what is it called? F I forget what those fighter jets are called, but Esau gonna try to use his weaponry, his tin can weaponry. Same thing with these other nations. They gonna do the same thing. All these nations, they gonna turn from the war that they doing, and they gonna turn to fight the Lord, man. And his chariots and the angels and his hundreds of thousands of angels. But they're not gonna prevail. But Lord's willing,